In our previous video, we looked at partial tag helpers. Now, partial tag helpers allowed us to move some of our code outside of our main view into smaller sections of code. So let's jump back into Visual Studio now and see how our index page is improved. Now we have a partial here under Menu Panel. So we have partial. The name of the partial is Menu Panel, and that code can be found under our home directory. And now we have this menu panel CS.html file that we can open that just has the code for the menu panel. Now this is going to help in the next step because what we're going to do is enhance the mobile capabilities of the application. So if we look at the app as it is now, we have the menu panel on the left here in this white column. And when I go to a smaller screen size, and I'm going to just reduce the size of the browser window here to kind of mimic what a mobile device would look like. And notice that panel has just completely disappeared. The problem with this is I can no longer interact with that panel, and I want to be able to let users click on those form elements and change the charts and data grid that are on the application. So let's see why that panel just disappears at the moment and how we can improve it. So if we go into our menu panel file here and look at the markup, we can see that we have a div that's wrapping the menu panel itself, and it has a class called hidden-xs. This means it's going to hide on extra small screens. This is a helper class that belongs to Bootstrap, and it's there to help us hide elements that don't really apply to smaller screens. And we're going to need to remove this and add some new functionality if we want to get this menu panel to appear on mobile and behave the way we want it to. So my next step is to add a responsive tag helper, responsive panel tag helper right here. So I'm going to say Kendo, and let IntelliSense do some work for us here. We'll say responsive panel, and we need to give this a name. We'll call it menu panel. And then we also need to set a breakpoint. We need to tell the responsive panel when we'd like the panel to hide. So I want to say if the screen size is less than 768 pixels, if that's what the device's capabilities are, let's go ahead and hide this section of code. So now everything inside of this Kendo responsive panel will be hidden on smaller screens. Now we don't need this external wrapper anymore, this Bootstrap class. All of that can go away. And when I go back to my application, I'm going to make sure this is saved. We'll go back and refresh the page. And when our application shows back up, we still have our panel now. And notice the panel disappears again when we go to a mobile size. So we're still not quite there yet. We need to give the user an element to click on or tap on that will make the panel slide out from the left and reappear. What's nice about Kendo UI and Telerik UI framework is that this is all built-in functionality. I just need to add the button and Kendo will know how to do the rest. So let's go back to our code and we're going to open up the index because we need to be in the main part of the application because the next piece of functionality that we're going to add belongs to the main portion of the application. So let's go into the index page where the title bar ends. And we're going to create some space here. And we're going to do this right above the main section of the application. And I want to add a hamburger menu to the application. So I'm going to copy paste this. So you don't have to watch me type again. And I'm going to put in a div with a class of hamburger. And then I'm going to say Kendo button. And I'm going to name the button menu panel open. And I'm going to give it the icon of menu. And this is the real important part. I'm going to give it the class of K, which stands for Kendo, responsive panel, R panel, toggle. Just by adding this class alone, The responsive panel knows that this is the toggle element for the responsive panel. It's going to wire everything up by itself. All I have to do is save this. I don't have to write any additional JavaScript. I just come back to my application, refresh the window. Notice there's no button yet because I'm not on a mobile device. Let's go ahead and shrink this down, and there's my responsive panel toggle button. If I click this, get that nice flyout effect from the side, and then if I go anywhere off of that panel, it'll close again. So all of that functionality was created by first adding this wrapper, this Kendo responsive panel wrapper, to all of the elements that I want to appear within that responsive panel. And then next, we just simply add that hamburger button menu button, and we give that a class of K, our panel toggle, and then we can give it our icon, and everything just works the way it's supposed to. So no JavaScript needed, it all just fires off. Now, I'm going to just go into my CSS, and I'm going to make that responsive panel look a little better. Now that we have it out of our prototype phase, we'd like to actually give it some style. So I'm going to say menu panel, and I'm going to target all of the widgets inside of it. So everything that has a K widget class, and this is specifically for the date pickers and the headers. I want to give those 100% width. And then I'm just going to give the rest of the elements some nice style here. This is for my H3 tags. I'm going to give them a nice look and feel, and come back to my application. Let's give this a refresh. And now we have a nice theme that matches our application. And in the next video, we're going to keep taking this application further by adding a data grid tag helper to it. And this will give us a nice rich data grid with paging, sorting, and lots of cool capabilities.